I was cleaning my teeth like I did every morning, but when I turned on the water to rinse out my mouth, I heard something terrifying. It's one of those things that keeps you up at night wondering if you should stop brushing your teeth. When I opened the door, I felt like something was off. It was just that the house was very quiet, because my wife had gone out with our little baby girl. I hesitated for a moment, thinking about calling my wife, but then I decided to ignore it. After all, it could have been kids from the neighborhood playing a prank, or maybe an overly enthusiastic group of birds outside. I turned around quickly, but there was no one there. Unfortunately, they weren't clear enough to understand what was being said. As I searched, I could hear the whispers following me around the room. I rushed to the bathroom to close it, but when I looked outside, I saw that the ground below was about 40 feet. With a sense of relief, I realized that it would be impossible for anyone to climb up without being seen. Someone had made a small opening to crawl through. But why? Who would crawl into such a dark, dusty place? It was like they were taunting me. Finally, I pried open the hatch and crawled in, expected to find a mouse nest or maybe a spider, but what I found was far more disturbing. And how could they have gotten in without me noticing? And every time I turn on the water to brush my teeth, I hear it. "Get out," it says. "Get out. I don't know what to do. Should I tell the police about the crawl space? Will they believe me if I show them the pictures? Or will they think I'm insane? I don't even know if it's safe to stay in the house anymore." Do whatever you have to do to drive them away. Denver, we are not alone. There is strength in numbers. I keep expecting someone to jump out from the shadows and attack me. They are waiting. And when we least expect it, they will strike. So be strong, be brave, and never, ever give up. Now you know the truth. Now we can fight back. But we have to be careful. They are cunning and patient. They will wait until we let our guard down. They looked like they'd been there for years. But what really disturbed me was the toothbrush. Don't try to reason with them. Fight back. Drive them out. We are not alone. There is power in numbers. Together, we will win. It was covered in teeth, and it looked like it had come from another era. I decided to investigate further. I grabbed my phone and a screwdriver to open the crawl space. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching. I don't know how long I spent in that crawl space, but eventually I made my way back to the office. I haven't touched that toothbrush since. I threw it away immediately after taking these pictures. But sometimes at night, I swear I can still hear it whispering to me. I closed the window and returned to my office. But the voices were still there. Suddenly, I felt a cold breeze against my neck. She says that I'm stressed out from work and need to take a vacation. I found stories about people who heard voices coming from their walls or under their beds. Some say it's just their imagination, but I know better. We're being watched. We're being tested. And when we're weakest, they'll strike. But I know it's real. I can feel it in my bones. Whoever, or whatever, is in my house with me wants me out. Although the air conditioner was turned off, I shivered and looked around the room for an open window. Everything was closed tight. Then I noticed the bathroom window was slightly open. All I could make out was the word "get out." At first, I thought it was a glitch or a bug. I checked the microphone levels and made sure that nothing was picking up background noise. Then I closed the door and tried to listen more closely. This time I could clearly hear the voice saying, "Get out." It didn't sound like it was coming from the other side of the door. It sounded like it was inside the room with me. I continued working, but it was hard to concentrate with them constantly whispering. Finally, I decided to check the recording software I use for my voiceovers. I had no idea if it would pick up whatever was going on, but it was worth a try. I moved the chair away and looked underneath, but I couldn't see anything. Then I noticed a small hole. I reached in and felt around, but it was too dark to make anything out. That's when I remembered my flashlight. I finished my shower and went to my office to get back to work. Or maybe it was just me being oversensitive, since I'd been working 12-hour days for months. Either way, I decided to take a hot shower and relax for a bit before getting back to work. If you're ready to hear one of the most cursed things ever recorded, then let's begin. It was then that I heard what sounded like muffled voices. I stopped and listened more closely, but everything was silent. The shower curtain was slightly open, and the stopper was missing from the bathtub. At first I thought nothing of it. I'd taken the stopper out to clean it a few days prior, but then I remembered that I'd put it back. Now, how could it have opened on its own? Was someone playing some kind of sick joke? Had a dog gotten in and knocked it out of place? Maybe. I couldn't think of any other scenario that would explain it, so I shrugged it off and went back to work. I put my ear to the shower head, but all I could hear was the sound of running water. I shrugged and went back to relaxing. The voices came again, and this time I could make out what they were saying. It was a normal day in 2017. There wasn't anything that stood out until I got home from work. When I turned on the shower, I could feel all the stress from the day melting away. They were whispering something that sounded like "get out," but it wasn't clear where they were coming from. It was then that I noticed something strange in my bathroom. But soon, the voices started coming from my office. They were still whispering "get out," and now it sounded like they were right behind me. To my surprise, it picked up the sound of voices. That's when I remembered that my son had recently been messing around with my equipment. Could he have plugged in a hidden microphone somewhere? Now I was really scared. How could my son have left the window open? It sounded like they were coming from under my desk. When I turned the light on, I saw that the hole led to a crawl space. As I worked, the whispers seemed to grow louder. The crawl space was filled with hundreds of teeth. Some were loose, and some were still attached to gums. I held it in my hand, and suddenly the whispering stopped. It sounds like it's coming from the walls, or maybe from under my bed. I've tried talking to my wife about it, but she doesn't believe me. If you're hearing me now, I want you to know that I'm not alone. There are others who have experienced similar things. So if you hear the whisperings, I want you to fight back. Scream as loud as you can. Make a scene. I'm sorry I didn't tell you this sooner, but I didn't want to put you in danger. If you hear the whisperings, don't ignore them. But if you hear the whisperings, remember, they are watching. Have you ever heard whispering voices? Let me know in the comments section below.